What a remarkable piece of work.
Oh, well, thank you, Carl. It was fascinating to be back in the thick of Washington politics again.
Yes, and there's so many threads of news within it. Jamie Dimon, the secretary's family, the president's reaction to the initial stimulus package. I wonder what you think the lead actually is.
Well, I think we can't ignore the fact that the Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, I believe, has rendered the country a tremendous service by maneuvering that first stimulus bill through a highly partisan Congress. And let's face it, a fairly dysfunctional White House. And I don't want to take anything away from that. But what is his reward for that? I mean, we need another one of these stimulus bills right now. Everybody agrees. The Republicans have called for $1 trillion, the Democrats $3 trillion. They all agree we need a big additional stimulus. And it's not happening. Why? Because Mnuchin's reward for succeeding the first time was basically to have the rug pulled out from under him. Trump, listening to conservative critics, belittled him in front of other members of the administration, basically didn't take the opportunity to praise him when I asked for comment. And, his wings were clipped. They put Mark Meadows in there. They didn't allow Mnuchin to do the negotiating this time around. They put Meadows in there. And so what's happened? We have no deal at all. Nancy Pelosi and Meadows, are like the wasp and the praying mantis in the bell jar. Nothing is going to happen. Now, I still think there is going to be a deal, but it's a shame to me that if Mnuchin had been left to his own devices again, I think we already would have a deal now.
Yeah, a large part of the story tries to. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I just want to add, though, that he's not ideological. He's not a populist. He's not cut out of the Stephen Miller mold. He's not a hard right person. And for somebody like that in this administration, it's very difficult. It's amazing that he survived as long as he is. But there's a huge personal cost. As the story shows, he was born and bred in the very East Coast wealthy elite that the Trump populists hate. And his own family, is, to put it mildly, is very troubled by his service to the president. And ironically, the more he succeeds, and therefore the more likely Trump gets reelected, the more that element of the population dislikes and criticizes him.
Right. But to your point about how the story digs into his lack of apparent or obvious ideology, that he's somehow almost apolitical, I wonder, you're not suggesting that he's going to wind up trounced or thrown out of the administration, writing a tell-all book, sort of criticizing the president in the rearview mirror like some past members of the cabinet?
No, I don't see a tell-all book coming out of him at all. At one point, I kind of jokingly said, "Oh, are you going to write your own book?" There was no reaction to that. I don't think he's going to get thrown out of the cabinet. I mean, I think his role has been, as I said, his wings have been clipped somewhat. But let's face it, there's only a few months left in this term, and even if Trump gets reelected, that I think would be a different question. Would he get reappointed to a second term? That I'm not at all sure about that. He has his strongest critics are from the right. It's from a big chunk of the Republican senatorial group. The hardcore Trump people don't trust him. They would love to get him out. I mean, the things I heard, to be back in that Washington quote unquote swamp, the vicious things people say about other people off the record was a reminder to me of just how bad it can be down there.